This video focuses on the job page. Now, every invoice is made up of jobs. So let's go into Jane Doe's invoice. Currently, there are no jobs. To add jobs, we start by adding the issue for the job. So we click on Add Issues, and you can add as many as you want. So let's do LOF, check brakes, check tires. So we click OK, and now we've created 3 jobs, each one based on a different issue. Let's start with this issue, LOF. Let's click on Edit, or we can drop this down, select Edit, or we can click it to select it and click Edit here. Easiest way I find is just to click Edit right there. Job is made up of essentially 3 parts. First part is the basic information about the job, the issue, the solution or the instructions or what we did, the parts, and the labor. Let's start up here. Let's click Edit, and for the solution we can just put changed oil. Okay, to save that, if you want, you can categorize the job. I think maintenance and service would be a good one for this. Click OK to save that. Now we can move down here to parts and labor. Let's start with the parts. We can do one of 2 things. We can look up a part from our inventory, or we can just add a generic part. Let's start by looking up a part from inventory. Let's search for a part. Now there's 2 ways to search for a part here. One is to hide this advanced search and use the quick find. We can just type in something like oil filter, hit enter, or click the little search icon there. So we got 1 oil filter in here. Select that. I'm going to copy this number for just a minute for a future reference. Let's click OK. And now we have the oil filter from stock on here. Let's look up another one and show you how to use the advanced search. We could use part number, and I'm just going to paste that part number that I copied earlier, and we can search, and that'll give us that part number. We could also do begins with, and we can just use the first parts of that part number. We could use contains, and it'll give us that part number. We could clear that one out, and we could use the description contains oil filter, and again it'll give us that part. So there are many different ways to search for parts. Let's go ahead and exit out of here since we already have our oil filter. And then let's add a part, a generic part. So we click Add Part. We type in the part number. Let's call this oil. Let's put in a cost of 5. Let's put some numbers in here. Now you'll see it calculated our price based on the pricing matrix we have set up for this company. So we can either click Save here to save this record, or hit Enter. Now as you're entering information in this data grid, you want to hit Tab to move from space to space. If you hit Enter, it saves the record and you move on to the next one. And then you could start another line. So that's parts. Let's go to labor. To add labor, we click Add Labor. We can select a technician. Let's go with Joe Smith. We can put in a brief description here. It's not required, but if you want to differentiate your labor on a job, maybe somebody did one part of the job, somebody did another part of the job, maybe you want to pay commissions differently. You can create as many lines of labor as you'd like. Let's just put LOF in there. Let's put the half hour, and we'll leave the labor rate at $105. We'll select Insert to save that. So we now have parts, labor, and our job description. Now that completes the job, and we're going to move on to the next feature of a job. Let's go ahead and save this job so we can use it in the future. Now, it's already filled out this criteria based on the job we've currently created of maintenance and service. It's already filled out the model year, make, engine of this vehicle based on the one we're working on. Now you can clear out any of these by clicking the little erasers. But let's say you want to make this for any Toyota after the year 2000. Let's say through 2010 Toyota, but you don't want to use these. Click the little eraser to get rid of those. Let's just type in description of LOF Toyota, and let's save that by clicking OK. So this job was created. Click OK. Now let's go back to the invoice. Let's create a new job. Call this demo save job. Let's go click on that to go into that job. Let's go into save jobs. Now we can search a couple different ways. We can just type in brief description there, and you can see that there's that LOF that we created. Now you can also narrow down your criteria by selecting, let's say, maintenance and service. Click search, and you'll see it now brings us down to 2 maintenance and service with LOF. Now let's take it a little further. Let's select 2006 and a Toyota. Click search, and we now have our job based on this search criteria. And then we have 2 options. One is to copy all this to the current job, or to create a whole new job and copy this saved job to it. Let's start by copying to the current job. And you can see it added our instructions, our solution. It doesn't change the issue, but it adds the solution or the instructions. It adds the parts, calculates the price based on the pricing matrix. It adds the labor, and then you're done. Now let's go back to the saved jobs. Let's clear out these. Let's search. Let's select it. Now let's copy to a new job. Now this created a whole new job and added it to that invoice. All the same information, the parts, the solution, the labor. Now let's jump back out to the invoice, and you can see that it added that job here. This was the one we were working on in the demo. It added this whole new job. Labor, parts. And that concludes the video on the jobs page.